Creating content on YouTube can be thrilling and push the boundaries of creativity. But sometimes, the quest for the perfect shot can turn deadly. In this video, we'll look at 5 of the most tragic losses of YouTubers who died while filming. These real stories reveal the risks that come with chasing views and the ultimate price some paid. It was June 26, 2017, in Halstad, Minnesota. Mona Lisa Perez, a 19-year-old, was in her home with her boyfriend, Pedro Ruiz, 3. They were a young couple, deeply in love, and always looking for ways to make their mark on social media. Their YouTube channel featured a variety of pranks and stunts, some more dangerous than others. On that day, they decided to film what they hoped would be their most popular video yet. Unfortunately, the stunt went tragically wrong. Mona Lisa and Pedro were getting ready to shoot a video where Mona Lisa would fire a .50 caliber Desert Eagle handgun at a thick book that Pedro was holding against his chest. Pedro was convinced the book would stop the bullet. He had even shown Mona Lisa another book he'd shot before, where the bullet hadn't gone all the way through. Confident their stunt would work, Pedro set up 2 cameras to catch the action, one mounted on the back of a vehicle and the other on a ladder. Mona Lisa, 7 months pregnant at the time, was hesitant. In the video transcript, she can be heard saying, "I can't do it, babe. I'm so scared." Pedro reassured her, saying, "As long as you hit the book, you'll be fine. Come on." Trusting Pedro's confidence, Mona Lisa aimed and fired from about a foot away. The bullet pierced the book and struck Pedro in the chest. Panicking, Mona Lisa called 911, telling the dispatcher, "We were doing a YouTube video and it went wrong. Please hurry up." Despite the quick response of the paramedics, Pedro Ruiz, 3, 22, was pronounced dead at the scene from a single gunshot wound to the chest. In the days following the incident, the video of the shooting, captured on 2 cameras, became key evidence in the investigation. Mona Lisa was charged with second-degree manslaughter. She pleaded guilty to the charge and was sentenced to 180 days in jail, which she would serve in 30-day increments each year for the next 3 years. She was also sentenced to 10 years of supervised probation and was banned from ever possessing firearms. Additionally, the plea agreement prohibited her from profiting off the video of the shooting. Pedro's family was devastated by his death. His aunt, Claudia Ruiz, told CNN affiliate KVLY, "They were in love. They loved each other. It was just a prank gone wrong. It shouldn't have happened like this. It shouldn't have happened at all." The couple had a 3-year-old daughter and were expecting their second child. Mona Lisa gave birth to their son in September. The tragic incident raised many questions about the lengths people would go to for internet fame. Sheriff Jeremy Thornton of Norman County expressed his confusion, saying, "I really have no idea what they were thinking. I just don't understand the younger generation on trying to get their 15 minutes of fame." Mona Lisa and Pedro's YouTube channel had a modest following at the time of the incident, with around 218 subscribers. Their videos included harmless pranks like Pedro climbing a tree and falling, and Mona Lisa feeding him a donut covered in baby powder instead of powdered sugar. In their last video together, filmed at a fairground, Mona Lisa said, "Imagine when we have 300,000 subscribers." In the wake of the shooting, Mona Lisa's tweet from the day of the incident gained significant attention. She had written, "Me and Pedro are probably going to shoot one of the most dangerous videos ever. His idea, not mine." The tweet was retweeted over 2,000 times and garnered nearly 1,500 replies, a mix of sympathy and criticism. It was May 28, 2013, in Cornwall, England. Jacob Cockle, a 28-year-old thrill-seeker and professional photographer, stood at the edge of Carnsue Pool, part of the Haley estuary. He had always been drawn to danger, capturing extreme moments through his camera lens. That day, he was about to take on his next challenge, filming a whirlpool created by old Victorian tunnels designed to move sand out of the harbour. However, this moment of adventure would end in tragedy. Jacob wasn't just any photographer. He was known for documenting risky stunts and breathtaking natural events with millions of views on his videos. On this day, he planned to film himself in the whirlpool, wearing a plastic horse's head for a humorous touch. His friend, 70-year-old David Rain stood nearby with a camera, ready to film. The whirlpool twisted violently, but Jacob didn't hesitate. He believed he knew how to handle it, as he had shared advice on dealing with dangerous waters on his YouTube channel. At around 7:30 p.m., Jacob waved to David and asked for a smaller camera on an 8-foot pole to capture underwater shots. As always, he was fearless, having grown up swimming in the sea. But as the camera rolled, the unthinkable happened. Jacob was sucked into the whirlpool. He resurfaced briefly on the other side, but was quickly pulled under again. David stood helpless on the shore, unable to intervene. Despite Jacob's swimming skills, the powerful water currents took him. There were signs warning people not to swim, but Jacob ignored them. He was a strong swimmer and had faced dangerous waters before. However, the whirlpool was unforgiving. Within moments, Jacob was pulled into an underwater tunnel, vanishing from sight. David, along with a nearby fisherman, called emergency services. Sadly, it was too late. Jacob's body emerged from the other side of the pool, lifeless. David and a passerby tried to revive him, but their efforts failed. Lifeboat crews arrived and airlifted Jacob to the Royal Cornwall Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. The cause of death: drowning. Later, an inquest revealed that Jacob had traces of ketamine, a tranquilizer, in his system. It remains unclear whether the drug affected his judgment that day. The coroner ruled Jacob's death an accident, stating that while Jacob took risks, they were usually well considered. In his final moments, he was doing what he loved, capturing the power of nature. Jacob's relationship with the sea began when he was young. Growing up in Penzance, Cornwall, he spent much of his life in the water. His mother, Carolyn, recalled that once Jacob was in the sea, it was nearly impossible to get him out. He learned to swim early and developed a passion for surfing, diving and swimming. But his love for danger intensified after a personal tragedy. When Jacob was a teenager, his older sister Grace passed away from a brain tumor. The loss devastated the family, and Jacob was particularly affected. He and Grace had shared a close bond, even creating a secret language as children. Her death changed Jacob's outlook on life. He began living fearlessly, believing he had to live for both himself and Grace. Her passing pushed him to take more risks, feeling that life was short and should be lived without fear. Jacob's daredevil nature wasn't limited to the sea. He would often take leaps from tall buildings into the water. On one occasion, he jumped from a 3-story building into Penzance Harbour. Another time, he jumped into the harbour outside a nightclub, narrowly avoiding being crushed by a ship. Despite these close calls, Jacob always managed to survive, until this day. Beyond his thrill-seeking nature, Jacob was an incredibly talented photographer. By his 20s, he had won awards from National Geographic and the Sunday Times. His photography, often focused on the sea, captured both its beauty and its danger. In 2011, he took a famous image of 2 surfers being swept off a sea wall by 30-foot waves, nearly losing his own life in the process. His work earned him international recognition. Just weeks before his death, Jacob had won a 28,000-pound expedition to Antarctica, a dream opportunity for any photographer. But he would never make that trip. His friends and family believed he was on the verge of achieving his greatest ambitions. Yet, in the end, his love for extreme moments cost him his life. Jacob's death left a deep void in the lives of those who loved him. His mother described him as a free spirit who saw no danger in life, while his friends remembered him as someone who lived without fear. His girlfriend Rachel spoke about how, after Grace's death, Jacob felt he had to live life to the fullest for both of them. On July 3, 2018, a tragic accident unfolded at Shannon Falls in British Columbia, Canada, when 3 well-known YouTubers from the High on Life travel group lost their lives. Ryker, Alexey, Lyakh, and Megan Scraper, known for creating thrilling travel content, were exploring the area that day. Their adventurous spirits, which had attracted millions of followers on social media, ultimately led to a devastating outcome. Ryker and Alexey, both from Vancouver, started the High on Life YouTube channel in 2012 with their friend Parker Huser. They wanted to inspire people to explore the world, take risks, and live fully. Over time, the channel gained over 500,000 YouTube subscribers and over 1 million Instagram followers. The group became famous for their daring adventures, often showcasing extreme stunts in breathtaking locations. Megan Scraper, a former field hockey player and social media consultant, later joined the group, bringing the same love for exploration and adventure. Their message was always about living in the moment, pushing limits, and making the most of life. On the day of the accident, the group decided to swim in one of the pools at the top of Shannon Falls. The waterfall, standing at 1,099 feet, is the third highest in British Columbia. Though it's a beautiful spot, it's also known for its danger due to slippery rocks and strong currents. As they stood near the edge, Megan tragically slipped on the wet rocks and fell into the waterfall. Seeing her fall, Ryker and Alexey immediately jumped into the water to save her. But the strong currents overpowered them as well. In a matter of moments, all three were swept down the waterfall, plunging nearly 100 feet into the pool below. Witnesses were horrified as they saw their friends disappear. Emergency services were quickly called, and search and rescue teams from the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, or RCMP, and Squamish Search and Rescue arrived. Despite the rapid response, the recovery was difficult due to the dangerous terrain and strong water flow. It took hours to recover their bodies, which were all found by the end of the day. The news of their deaths spread quickly, leaving their fans, friends, and families heartbroken. Social media was flooded with tributes to the three, who had inspired so many to live adventurously. The remaining members of the High on Life team released an emotional tribute, calling Ryker, Alexey, and Megan the kindest, warmest, and most driven people. They expressed their deep grief, saying, "The world has lost a great deal of light with their passing." The British Columbia Coroner's Service confirmed that their deaths were accidental, caused by the fall from the top of Shannon Falls. The slippery conditions, caused by mist and algae on the rocks, were cited as contributing factors. John Wilcox from Squamish Search and Rescue explained the risks of areas like Shannon Falls in an interview. He described the rocks as polished granite, often covered with mist and lichen, making them extremely slippery. He warned that exploring such areas carries significant danger. This incident also drew attention to the risks taken by extreme adventure content creators. High on Life had faced criticism before. In 2017, Ryker and Alexey, along with another group member, were fined and banned from US federal lands for 5 years after walking on sensitive hot springs in Yellowstone National Park. Despite the controversy, their fans remained loyal, drawn to the group's message of living life without limits. In one of Ryker's last Instagram posts, he emphasized the importance of living in the moment and enjoying life, which resonated with his followers. The deaths of Ryker, Alexey, and Megan left a lasting impact on the YouTube community and their fans. Their passion for exploring and living life to the fullest inspired countless people, but their tragic end shows the dangers that come with extreme adventures. Shannon Falls, while beautiful, remains a dangerous place, especially for those who underestimate its risks. Authorities continue to warn visitors to exercise caution and to be mindful of the hazards when exploring such areas. It was November 26, 2021, in Kongsberg, Norway. Tor Eckhoff, better known as Apetor on YouTube, was preparing for another daring stunt. At 57, he was famous for his extreme activities like ice skating and swimming in frozen lakes, all while drinking vodka. He had over 1.2 million subscribers who eagerly watched his content. That day, he went to Jacob's Dam, a frozen lake, planning to skate on the ice while filming himself. It seemed like just another typical Friday for Tor. Tor was known for taking risks in his videos, often skating on thin ice or diving into freezing waters. He loved nature and adventure, and his stunts were a mix of humor and danger. Before starting his filming, he sent his partner, Tove Skjerven, a message with photos of himself at the lake saying the conditions were good. But things took a tragic turn. While filming, the ice beneath Tor cracked, and he fell into the freezing water. Though he had been in icy water before and always managed to escape this time, he couldn't pull himself out. Locals nearby heard his cries for help and immediately called for rescue. Firefighters and divers arrived quickly, pulling Tor from the water. He was rushed to Ullevål Hospital, but by the time he arrived, it was too late. Tor had been underwater too long. On November 27th, the day after the accident, doctors made the difficult decision to turn off life support. Tove and their son Johannes were with him in his final moments. It was a heartbreaking and sudden end for a man who had spent his life pushing boundaries. Tor's stunts were always dangerous. He skated on frozen lakes, often using a chainsaw to carve his way, and took freezing dips while drinking vodka. His unique mix of adventure and comedy made him a beloved figure in the YouTube community. Just 5 days before his death, Tor had posted a video celebrating his 57th birthday, humorously titled, "I am not dead, I am 57 today." In it, he sat in an outdoor bathtub, drank vodka, and filmed quirky moments like kissing a tree. Ironically, it would be one of his last videos. Fans were shocked and saddened by the news of Tor's death. Many saw him as more than just a YouTuber. He was the epitome of fearless adventure. His final video, which had nearly 2 million views, was filled with comments from fans expressing their grief. Some called him a legend, while others shared how his videos had brought joy to their lives. Tove shared her pain in a heartfelt Facebook post, recalling the events of that day. She described how Tor had messaged her with excitement about the lake, only for tragedy to strike. She explained how the divers had tried to save him, but couldn't because he had been underwater for too long. She ended her post by saying, "We have endless good memories, and we miss you so indescribably." Tor's death, while tragic, was not entirely unexpected. His stunts always carried risk, and those who followed him knew it. He had lived life on the edge, constantly testing his limits in dangerous situations. Unfortunately, on that cold November day, the risk caught up with him. In the wake of his death, tributes poured in from fellow YouTubers and fans. Swedish YouTuber Niemen wrote on Twitter, "He died doing what he loved, producing his wacky and nonsensical videos that never failed to make people smile." Other fans shared similar sentiments, remembering the laughter and excitement Tor had brought to their lives. Tor's YouTube channel, which he started in 2006, was filled with content that reflected his adventurous spirit. Whether it was road trips, sunsets, or ice skating stunts, his love for nature and adventure was always clear. In an interview, Tor once said, "When you are ice swimming or messing around almost naked in the snow, you have a limited amount of time before you get too cold. During that time, you just have to handle the cold mentally." His mental toughness allowed him to push through challenges, but even his strong will couldn't save him in the end. It was a cold November night in 2017 when James William Stobie, better known as Stobe the Hobo, was out doing what he loved, riding the rails. Stobie had become famous on YouTube for documenting his life as a modern-day train hopper, showing a dangerous world few dared to enter. His videos were more than just clips of train hopping. They were artistic, with his piano music playing in the background as he crossed vast landscapes. His commentary was dry, honest, and often humorous, providing a raw look into the risks of the lifestyle he had chosen. On November 9th, 2017, Stobie was in Maryland, filming one of his latest adventures, but something went terribly wrong. Some reports say his backpack got caught on an Amtrak train, dragging him to his death. Others suggest he may have fallen from a bridge while trying to hop a train and ended up on the tracks. No matter the exact details, the outcome was tragic. James Stobie died while pursuing his passion. Stobie was only 33 when he died, but in those years, he gained a loyal following. His videos were popular not only because of the danger, but also because of his unique style and eye for capturing the beauty of America from a moving freight train. His work had the spirit of Depression-era hobos who rode the rails in search of a better life. For Stobie, train hopping was more than just a thrill. It was his way of rejecting a modern life he found unfulfilling. Born to Michael and Mary Stobie in Colorado, James had always embraced an unconventional lifestyle. Friends described him as intelligent, quirky, and passionate about his interests. His videos often featured his own piano music, blending his creativity with a sense of rebellion against societal norms. As Stobie's popularity grew, so did the dangers he faced. Train hopping is illegal and risky, something he didn't shy away from discussing in his videos. He openly talked about close encounters with train wheels and the dangers of hopping while tired or drunk. In one interview, he recalled an incident where he nearly lost his life after jumping off a train while drunk and fatigued. Despite the risks, Stobie kept going. His fans admired him for it, and on a Facebook memorial page, one person wrote, "He died doing what he loved." His YouTube channel had nearly 11,000 subscribers, drawn in by his honest, humorous, and often thrilling content. Watching Stobie ride through swamps and across plains felt like joining him on his journey. However, his death also brought attention to the real dangers of train hopping. Some speculated about how exactly he died, but the Baltimore Police Department didn't release many details. For the train hopping community, his death shows the risks they face. One user on Reddit warned others about the dangers, writing, "Train hopping is not glamorous or romantic. It will kill you." Stobie's death not only affected his fans, but deeply impacted his family and friends. He was a beloved son, brother, and friend, known for his humor, compassion, and love for life. His obituary described him as a person who would be remembered both for his work and the mark he left on those who knew him. Though his life was cut short, Stobie's influence didn't end with his death. His videos continued to inspire a new generation of train hoppers, like a young man from Colorado named Dancer, who began his own YouTube channel in 2020. Inspired by Stobie, Dancer also knew the dangers, but was drawn to the same thrill. The train hopping community has grown since Stobie's passing, with many trying to honor his legacy while navigating criticism for promoting a dangerous lifestyle. For them, like Stobie, train hopping isn't just a hobby. It's a form of self-expression and a connection to the past. But as Stobie's story shows, it's a way of life that can come with deadly consequences.